Hi everybody, welcome here to ABA with Dr. D. This is Dr. D, your host. Today we're going to be covering a new video on YouTube Reacts. And this particular video is one that, talks about, a kid that is basically not happy about going to school. I know we're in the middle of summer, which is great here in the United States. It's basically summertime. Kids are out of school, so we're good. But now, at some point in a couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks, kids will go back to school. And I think one of the main focuses for us as parents and as clinicians is to start preparing ourselves and kind of start preparing our kids for that transition. Okay, sometimes these particular breaks do throw our kids off their routines. So it's a good idea to basically prepare for these, once again, going back to school or other types of routines that they may go through. So I'm going to watch this video together with you guys, and we'll begin to be able to see this particular episode here. We can talk more about it. So here we go. Okay, so he wants his iPod. His dad is the one. Okay.
No iPod, no TV, no power.
Okay, so obviously it sounds like the kid, is really trying to access a bunch of stuff that he more than likely had access to non-contingently or pretty much freely during the summer. It looks like right now what's happening is probably dad removed these items from Ken. I think that's his name. And Ken is not happy about that. Okay, so obviously he's not a happy camper.
You can go to school.
Okay, so
excuse me?
Doesn't want to go to school.
Excuse me? We're going to have a talk about your language. Now, you can...
Okay.
You can put your clothes on, or I can take you up there in your skivvies. Yes, you are. We shall see.
Okay. Let me go back a little bit there. Okay, so obviously he's not a happy camper. Kind of stopping in here. He obviously is going back and forth with his dad about going to school. I'm sure that some of you might have seen these behaviors or have experienced some of these behaviors. I was sure very personal experience myself. So when I was in first grade, and even I would say kindergarten, I had similar behaviors as Ken. I actually, had a lot of tantrums when my parents would take me to school, and it was very difficult for them. And I can kind of look back now and kind of relate to a lot of stuff that's happening here. So I'm just kind of remembering now the experiences, and I feel bad for my parents, obviously, because they did go through a lot, and also my teachers and people that were helping out. And actually, a little quick side note on that. I think that due to that experience, I kind of eventually, obviously, I got into this field where we do work with children that need help when it comes to their tantrums. But yes, these behaviors do happen. Myself, I engage in these behaviors, so I can understand Ken's side. He definitely, there's something about the school, obviously, that you're not interested in going to. I'll give you some, perspective. At least for me, when I was going through those tantrums, it was really hard for me to to understand that school was going to be good for me. And I struggled. I struggled a lot to eventually, get into that routine of going to school and liking school. I actually, after getting that over the hump of getting into that school mode, it was seamless after that. I actually did pretty well in school afterwards. I actually like going to school, but it's very hard, especially when you have these particular situations for the parents, teachers. I'm very interested to hear you guys out. What do you guys think? I mean, for me, obviously I have different ideas that maybe we could do with Ken here. I do have to say that one of the things that worked for me specifically was finding some type of reinforcement going to school. The people that were working with me essentially were able to establish some type of reinforcement system where if I stayed a certain amount of time, I was able to access certain items that I really liked. So yeah, I mean, it took a lot of collaboration. It took a lot of collaboration between my parents and in school, you know, and that's why I really much appreciate, you know, all the work they did with me, because I was not an easy camper when it came to these episodes. But in this situation, I mean, you guys can kind of see already the topography, the behavior is pretty intense. Ken is not happy, and he absolutely is trying to find a way how to get out or to avoid or escape going from school. So let's watch it one more time. So let's see, he's asking for his iPod. Okay.
No. No.
I think that also I was gonna say that you know, that's obviously he's recording this episode, and that's interaction itself. He's kind of like responding, right, and providing some type of like, you know, reaction to his behavior there on the spot. So I think that also kind of escalated when he was, you know, hearing his dad going back and forth with him. So I don't know. I'm not sure what you guys think, if that would be, if that's, you know, what you guys are also observing there.
No iPod, no TV, no power.
So there we go. So basically he's saying no iPod, no TV, no power. So it's kind of like you're going back and forth with Ken, and he's obviously not, you know, it just agitates more.
You can go to school.
And obviously that episode just escalated more with him cursing. He's engaging in profanity.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
Okay, and obviously dad is kind of like recognizing or giving him some feedback that he said something inappropriate. But once again, he is upset right now. I'm also a professional crisis management training, or we implement crisis management. And one of the things we always talk about when an episode gets to a really like intense and really, you know, difficult or intense or extinction burst, like we always say, it's very hard to conversate with somebody at that point. It's very difficult. I think at that point, all you really try to do is you have a very minimal options. As long as the client is safe and they're not hitting anybody or hurting anybody, you're gonna have to just wait it out and just kind of like, you know, ensure that the, you know, we're able to eventually, you know, engage with the client, you know, through some behavioral momentum. We have another video on that, by the way, if you guys want to get a refresher on behavioral momentum. But I think it's one of those things where you just need to wait it out. And here it looks like dad is just once again engaging with them, and he's not happy about it.
We're going to have a talk about your language. Now,
Okay, you see that? So he's kind of giving him feedback.
You can put your clothes on, or I can take you up there in your skivvies.
Okay, so dad gives him.
Yes, you are. We shall see.
Okay, so we're going in this back and forth conversation. Obviously, he's not in that mode right now. Ken is not in that mode to have a conversation. So it's very difficult once again to do that. And I know it's hard as a parent as well. I understand, like I said, the other side, it's difficult to change. And that's where, you know, us as behavior analysts or people that work in the field, we got to figure out, right? You know, obviously the why is pretty straightforward. It looks like it's definitely, you know, escape, you know, from trying to, you know, not go to school. There's also maybe some access to a variety of other things. But yeah, I'm curious to see if you guys have any comments, any ideas on how you would navigate through this particular episode. What would be some things you would recommend Ken's dad? What have you experienced? I'm sure some of you guys have experienced these episodes in the mornings with some of your clients. I'm curious to, like, if you guys want to share that with us. But yeah, this is another React video, really interesting one. This will be really good for training purposes if you want to kind of, like I said, break down a scenario, a clinical scenario, and figure out ways how to navigate through it. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done so, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Take care now.